continue to repair. Well, of course, if you have some damage, you can delay the time in which the damage becomes irreversible. So that is more or less the way you use the cells. It's not to cure the disease, because to cure the disease you have to understand the etiology, the cause, that we don't know. Hopefully from genetics, hopefully from environment, possibly both, but we don't know. So it's another way to get, it's another way to prevent the damage or repair. But what's the point? I mean, what's the beauties of using stem cells or cell therapy in general? That the cells are responding to the microenvironment. In MS you have different lesions with different flavors. Sometimes you have acute lesions, sometimes chronic, sometimes you have loss of axons, sometimes you have loss of cells producing myelin. So the cells, stem cells, when they get there, they can understand what is going on there, and they can secrete different substances at the same time in the right amount in that specific situation. So this cannot be done with drugs. Drugs is just one active principle that you just give to the patient, and that's all. So possibly cells could be more efficacious with less side effect. Even they can be considered symptomatic to some extent. So where do we have to put my money in terms of looking for the cause of the disease? I don't know.
There seems to be a very high correlation between vitamin D and MS.
Vitamin D, you know, it's a very strange story, because probably it was one of the first, probably 15 years ago, to use vitamin D in animal model of MS. I forgot that I did this experiment. It was published in a good journal, but now someone told me, but you did it. And what the problem we had at that time is that the amount of vitamin D to get the, because at that time we thought that vitamin D could improve anti-inflammatory T cells over pro-inflammatory cells, the so-called Th1, Th2, was a lot, sometimes ago. What the problem was is that to obtain this immunomodulation, we should give to mice huge amount of vitamin D that you cannot give to humans because they have heavy side effect. So the immunological effect was not possible in humans due to heavy side effect at that time, hypercalcemia and these kind of things. I don't know if you take vitamin D from the beginning as a supplement to your diet, if something changed. But for sure that's interesting. I'm not convinced that everything is inside vitamin D. I wish it might, but...
For time's sake, I'm going to have to say one more question, please.
Thank you. I've been diagnosed with extremely rare neurosarcoidosis. It's in every organ of my body, and I'd like to know if I can have any treatment, stem cells or anything, please.
Of course, I mean, this is a very rare disease, as you know. And if we have problems, I mean, the major problem with stem cells is that we don't have numbers to prove that those therapies are really efficacious, because of course we cannot do the so-called placebo-controlled trial, because you cannot think that you make everything to a patient except the cells, because it's too risky. So in other diseases in which, like neurosarcoidosis, in which we don't have real numbers, to some extent you should judge by the clinical situation. If the clinical situation is worsening a lot, you can consider also a therapy in which you take some risks. Okay, so I mean that's another story. It's a medical-based decision, and there are cases in which there were some diseases which were going very bad, in which you can also take a risk, but you should know that you are taking a risk.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So please, could you